Hey everyone, welcome to Love and Life's Journey. I'm Chantel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I have a farmhouse DIY for you. This was inspired by something I saw online, and it was a picture frame ladder, and it was about $70, and it just gave me the idea to try and make one myself. So I've made mine using Dollar Tree products, and it cost about $15 to make. So let's jump in and I'll show you how I did it. For this project, I am using 6 of these solid wood signs from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to be using 4 of these wood signs, also from Dollar Tree, that I had in my stash that I picked up a while back. And I'm going to be using 3 of these picture frames from Dollar Tree. These say they're for a 3.5 by 5-inch picture. That would be if you're using the mat. They're actually like a 5 by 7 picture frame. I will be using 1 package of the decorative nautical rope. And I'm going to be using 3 packages of these pop-up stickers. To start off, I'm going to be removing the back and the glass and everything from the picture frame, and I'll just set that aside because I will be using it later. Then I'm going to take the pop-up stickers and I am going to be placing these all around the frames. It is easier if you fold the little tabs down flat so that the frame will lay flat on the table. I'm going to stick these all the way around the frame, and I'm leaving a little bit of space in between them. I would recommend just barely setting these down on the frame and not pushing them down until you have them placed exactly where you want them, just so you can get the spacing right. These actually stuck really well with just the adhesive that was on them, and if you stick them down, it is tough to get them pulled back up. So just put them on lightly, and then you can adjust them before you push them all on and get them secured. And then I'm going to repeat that and put these around all 3 frames. Next, I'm going to take 3 of those larger wooden pieces that I got from Dollar Tree, and I am going to connect them together. You can use wood glue. I could not find mine, so I'm using this Weld Bond glue. And I'm also going to be using my staple gun. I love this. It's great for crafting. I will put the link in the description box below for that. So I am using this carpenter square so I can make sure and get everything straight, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the ends, and then I'm going to use the staple gun to secure them. I probably should have stapled the sides that had the letters and the writing on them, because I ended up having to put probably several more coats of paint on this to cover the words up than I would have had to if I had just put the staples on the other side, but hindsight is 20/20. So then I'm going to flip this over, and the glue's not dry, so I'm going to place some painter's tape over that seam and set a rock on that so that it will weight it down while that glue is drying. Then I'm going to repeat this whole process for the other 3 pieces of wood. And while that glue is drying, I'm going to use some of this heirloom white spray paint, and I'm going to spray paint my frames. Since I stapled my boards wrong and I am going to have to make the sides with the words the front of my project, I decided to sand off a little bit of the design just to make it so that my spray paint hopefully covers the design better. In the end, it really didn't matter. I had to spray everything with about 4 or 5 coats of the spray paint. So maybe chalk paint would work better and cover this better. But I am spray painting 3 of the 4 smaller boards, and I'm leaving the 4th one. I kept the design on it. That was just something I decided to try to see if I liked it, and then I decided if I didn't like it, then I'd be able to paint over it and make it just like the others. So this is that board that I saved, and I am keeping the saying that was on it, but the paint around the edges and the back of it is a red paint, and so I am going to paint the edges of it black. And I'm using the chalk paint for this, and that covered really well. I only had to do 1 coat, and I'm going to also be painting the edges of the ones that I painted white on the front as well, so that they all match. Next, I'm going to take my black paint and a dry brush and just get a very little bit of paint on my brush, wipe off the excess, and I am going to dry brush on the picture frames just to give them a more distressed look, and so they're not quite as much of a stark white. Then I'm going to add my glass back in the frame, add my picture, and then put the backing of the frame on as well. And I did remove the stand from the back of the frame. It just pulls off with not much effort at all. So now that all of my pieces are painted and dry and ready to go, I am going to assemble this. And basically, you want to take your time, measure everything, and make sure that you have everything in the right place before you start gluing and attaching everything. So another way you could do this project is to go to like Home Depot or Lowe's and have them cut your pieces to the lengths that you need. Just for reference, my longer pieces are 54 inches long, and the shorter like ladder rungs are 16 inches long, and you could just have them cut like 1x2s. This would probably be about the same cost, and I just decided not to do that because we are not going into any stores right now because my daughter is sick and we're waiting for the results of a COVID test to make sure that she does not have that. We don't want to go into any stores or anything, so we are self-quarantining, and so I am just using all of the supplies that I already had on hand. So I just laid everything out, and I'm measuring to make sure that the top and the bottom are the same distance apart, and then I'm spacing the ladder rungs just so that it all looks good. My top and bottom rung were about 3 inches from the ends, and then I had about 13 3/8 inch in between the rungs where the picture frames are. But it will really just depend on the materials you use and the sizes and spacing that you want. So just play around with that to do what looks good to you. And once I had everything laid out, I marked the pieces with a pencil so that I could easily see those when I go to glue them down, and I am using a combination of my weld bond glue and the hot glue gun to do this. And I'm actually using this new glue gun that was sent to me by Monvik, and I will put the link to it in the description box below. It is a freestanding glue gun. The cord is detachable. It has two settings for a high and a low. I found that the low setting is still pretty hot and worked pretty well. And I do like this hot glue gun for larger projects like this one where I'm working outside, and I like that it's freestanding. And so thank you, Monvik, for sending this to me, and I am using it and I am liking it. So again, I will put the link to that in the description box below if you're interested. Okay, so now back to assembling this. I glued the top one down, and now I'm gluing the bottom one down. And again, it's really important to make sure that they are the same distance apart for your vertical pieces. And then again, just going in with the wood glue and then the hot glue. The hot glue will help hold it in place while the wood glue dries and gives it a stronger bond. And after I have the end pieces glued, then I'm going to go back and glue down the two middle rungs. Now that it's all glued together, I am going to take my black paint and my dry brush and go ahead and dry brush my ladder so that it all matches with those picture frames and that everything looks distressed. And I did go ahead and add a little bit of the black paint dry brushing to that sign on the top as well. Next, I'm going to take my nautical rope from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to tie a knot in one end, and then I'm going to measure down with that knot sitting on the top rung of the ladder. I'm going to measure how long I need it so that I can have it go all the way from the top rung to the bottom rung, and then I'll tie another knot at the bottom. Then I'm going to hold up my picture frame and kind of decide about where I need the ropes to be placed so that I can glue the picture frames to the ropes. And then I make a mark on the top rung, and I will also make a mark on the bottom rung, and I just measure over to make sure they are the same distance. And as you can see, Jake is supervising me very closely on this project. Really, he's just waiting very impatiently for me to give him a treat. So now that I have it marked where my rope is going to go, I am just using my hot glue gun, and I am going to glue the knot to the top of that top rung where I made the mark, and then I'll just hold that in place until the glue has set. Then I'm going to pull the rope tight, and I'm going to hot glue the knot on the bottom to the bottom side of that bottom rung, and that the rope should be pretty tight, and so you'll have to hold that in place until the glue sets. Then just to secure the ropes a little bit more, I am going to use my hot glue gun and glue the ropes to the back side of those rungs. Then for the last step, I'm going to glue my pictures to those ropes, and I am gluing the ropes only to the backing that is on the picture frame. I'm not gluing it to the frames themselves because I want to be able to change the pictures out. So this way I can remove the backing and pull the frame off the front and still change out the pictures if I want to. And so I just eyeballed this. I didn't really measure it. I just kind of put it up there till it looked like it was centered, and then I glued the ropes onto the picture. So here is my finished farmhouse picture ladder, and I really like how it turned out. I put pictures of my nieces and nephews in it, and like I said, I decided to leave that one board with the saying on it at the top, but you could totally paint over that, leave it blank. You could paint it and then stencil a different word or a family name, or use your Cricut to put something on there, but this was just how I decided to do it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell so YouTube will notify you when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.